The hard truth is that every business owner has a dirty secret.
Curious what business owners are doing to double revenue, have more cash flow, work less hours, and provide a better lifestyle for their family? Dive into the world of business growth that leads to guaranteed wealth every Tuesday with your hosts, Dr. Laura Schwalek and Jerry Kazaya. Grow and get answers to your business and investment questions that provide clarity, move you forward, and inspire you to reach your goals. Welcome to episode 6 of the Business Builder Intensive. And yes, every business owner has a dirty secret, and some don't even know it yet. In fact, we had a new client recently started with us and found out that his CPA was not filing the quarterly reports.
For almost a year, he has not had his business taxes filed properly.
So the payments and the interest and the penalties have all accumulated over the last year. That's a horrible thing. But you had something similar, only your story was much more amazing. Tell us about your IRS story, Jerry.
Well, it's a crazy story, and you must go back into time and remember that it's almost 40 years ago that this happened, right? And I think it was right after the movie Dirty Harry came out because this guy came in. I'm not joking.
Guns ablazing.
Oh man, he was something. So I'm standing at my counter, I'm talking to a client, and I see a guy walks in, nice sport coat and a vest, a pair of slacks. I said, "Can I help you, sir?" All right. I said, "I'll be right with you." He goes, "Take your time. Take your time, no problem." Okay. So I finish up with the client and I walk her out the door and I said, "Hi, I'm Jerry. What can I do for you?" He says, "Oh, you are Jerry. Excellent." Well, yeah, there's a name on my shirt that would have been a clue. But nonetheless, he says, "Do you know what a 941 is?" I was a little bit of a smart aleck, and I said, "I don't know. It sounds like it's right after 940 and before 942."
Oh, gosh.
He did not like that. He literally grabbed a hold of my lapels, threw me up against the wall, shoved his badge in my face, indicating that he was an employee of the U.S. Department of Treasury, Internal Revenue Division, or Internal Revenue Department Collections Division. And as he was had
Grip on
his
you.
grip around my lapels and his badge in my face, and I could see the weapon in his shoulder holster. He was yelling at me, telling me that he could put me out of business and take everything I owned and take my house, and bankruptcy couldn't stop. Nothing could stop this from happening because I had messed with employees' wages. And I'm not going to lie to you. I was completely dumbfounded. I had no idea what the hell just happened. So now let's fast forward a little bit. And it turns out that I also had a bookkeeping company that didn't file my quarterly taxes, nor did they pay them. And we'll go backwards a little bit. About a year prior to that, this guy walks into my office and introduced himself and as my savior. I said, "You are my savior. How is that going to happen?" And he said, "You know those quarterly taxes you have to pay for all the money that you take out of your employees' checks?" I go, "Yeah." He goes, "I'll take care of those for you." Okay. And so he did for one quarter. And it was really interesting because he would come in and he would write down all the stuff he needed. And then he would go back and say, "Okay, here's the check you write. Make sure you send this to the government." Okay, I did that. Well, the next quarter came by and I didn't see him when I knew it was due. And he said, "Oh, I came by. You weren't here. So I went ahead and filed it for you. And if you'll just reimburse me, here's the amount I paid." That went on for several quarters. And being naive, being new in business, I had no frickin' idea that this guy was scamming me. I didn't know
Golly.
until Dirty Harry showed up in my office and threw me up against the wall in my office. And let me tell you, that is a very, to say unsettling experience is being as mild and polite as possible. I will say that I got that Clint Eastwood Dirty Harry cop IRS guy transferred to a division he did not like because what he did was wrong. You can't argue with it in the moment, but you can fix it after the fact. And so I proceeded to do everything I could to make his career as unpleasant as he made that experience with me. Nonetheless, the IRS, when we sat down with them, they pulled out the form, the 942 form, and the 942 form at the time had this grid at the upper left-hand side or the upper right-hand side. I don't remember what it was, but it had these little numbers or letters in it, and I didn't understand what it meant. But one was, um, it meant failure to file, failure to pay, penalties, interest, and total. That was already built into the form because apparently it is a systemic problem for small business owners where they forget to do 941 reports and they have huge penalties and huge interest that's paid simply, if nothing else, because they didn't file the documents
So,
properly.
how much did you owe and what were the penalties?
Well, by the time we got everything all said and done, it was over $71,000. And
Golly.
I was a new business. I'd only been a couple years in business, 4 years at the time. And it to say that it was a shock is an understatement. Imagine, you're doing everything you can to keep the business afloat, and then you get slapped with a $71,000 hit on top of that. And they told me that I had 21 days. I had 21 days to come up with $21,000, or they would attach it to my personal Social Security as well, and I'd never be able to get credit for 7 to 10 years, depending on the agency. So clearly, this is a huge hammer that the IRS, that the government can hold you up with, if you will,
And
right?
IRS bills never go away.
No,
No.
he was right.
You
Bankruptcy will not alleviate any IRS bill. Contrary to what anything you might see or hear on television, that's not accurate anymore. So, yeah, I would certainly make sure, and again, our new client is now has the he's armed with the information and the tools to make sure that the CPA does in fact file the papers properly, just because it's a bad deal and the penalties and interest start accumulating immediately. And in one case, because it was several years before we found out about it, the penalty and interest were more than the original taxes.
Oh my
So yeah, I
goodness.
mean it's
Oh, you mean with one of our clients?
no,
Is that with
with me
you? Oh
personally.
goodness, wow.
Yeah. I mean it was like, "You've got to be kidding. It can't be that much." I mean, that was more than the tax. They said, "Well, you got 3 years or 4 years of interest plus penalties, and you pay interest on the penalties as well, not just on the amount. So please make sure that your tax issues are as minimal as possible." And I'll tell you, it was really a great education for me. It
Yeah.
was a brilliant learning experience. And we've been audited several times by all the people that do audits, and I've gotten to the point now where I just introduce them to the accountant, to whoever's in the bookkeeping department, say, show them whatever it is they want to see. And the last time that we were audited by the state for the sales tax, um, they spent 4 days in our office and realized that we had overpaid by 13 cents. So I said, they had to send me a check. I know, please, the stamp costs more than that, right? But they said, no, we have to be exact. Okay, well, God bless them.
And we have helped several clients with
Yeah,
it's not necessarily the legal part of the IRS stuff, but the mental part.
yeah,
Because like one of our clients had what a quarter of $1 million in
excellent.
back taxes for the IRS. And that, let me tell you, that really messes with your head.
Oh, it's a
So
weight you can't just get out of. I mean, there's
yeah.
no relief for it. There's no relief when you're dealing with the IRS. Forget what the TV ads say and the magazines and all that BS, right? The truth of it is, until you get closure with them, you have a weight like Godzilla is standing on your shoulders.
Hey, didn't the comedian Steve Harvey, didn't he his CPA did something like that to him too, right?
Yeah, ended up costing him $33 million.
Oh my God, it was that
33 million.
much.
Yes,
Holy
$33 million
smokes.
dollars.
So
Holy
here's
cow.
the lesson. Okay, so the hard truth is that everybody has a dirty secret, and we're going to get to that in a minute. But the lesson is make sure that you follow up to ensure the payments are made, that the forms have been filed. Make sure that if you take the taxes out of, because your employees are, if they're W-2 and you're taking that tax money out of their paycheck,
Yeah,
you make sure that gets filed in a timely fashion, or there's jail time if you take
yeah,
money
that's a
from.
major deal. That's
Yeah,
a huge deal.
that is.
Going back to Steve Harvey,
Yeah,
so the accounting company that was doing his stuff, they would take the funds out of his account for the taxes that were due and put it in his account.
his own personal account.
Not
Uh,
Steve's account, but the owner of the tax company that was doing
mhm.
it. And the way they found out about this was the man died and they were cleaning out his office. Steve has he's this is on video,
Yeah, yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah.
But so they were cleaning out the CPA's office or the accounting, whatever he was, right? And the secretary called Steve up and said, "I have a stack of these papers here with your checks attached to them. What would you like me to do with them?" And he said, "Well, what's going on?" And so after investigating, and then of course the IRS got involved, he got those "we're coming to see you" letters that are certified. That's when you know it's serious. When the IRS sends you a certified mail, that's the ones you absolutely need to pay attention to. Don't just put them in the desk drawer and close the drawer, hope they go away, because they will come and rock your world. And that's what they did. Steve Harvey cost him $33 million.
Wow.
Yeah,
Well, if you
crazy.
have an issue like that or a concern about that, then reach out to us because we can at least point you in the right direction. Because we know tax attorneys, we know great CPAs. So reach out and
See, we have all the tools at our disposal.
we've been through it. We've helped other people through it. We can probably help you through it too.
Yeah.
But it's
Please
not,
don't wait till last minute. Don't
yeah.
wait till you're on your deathbed to call us.
And it's not just sometimes IRS. Sometimes there's something else. Maybe you're having an issue with your partner and you don't know how to deal with that, a business partner.
There was a
Eh,
bookkeeper that was just sentenced, 74-year-old bookkeeper here in the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex, guilty of embezzling over $29 million from companies she has worked for.
Yeah.
Do not think for a moment it doesn't happen.
74-year-old woman. Oh, you can trust her, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so here's
Somebody's grandmother.
the second lesson for today is don't let anyone have signing authority on your accounts. Don't let anyone have signing authority on your accounts. I don't care how trustworthy they are. If they are not your business partner, and then even with your business partner, make sure that both of you have to sign checks. If you're signing payroll or whatever it is, make sure both of you have to sign because you want to make sure that no one is taking your money.
Except you.
Yes. And then the other is just to keep you honest as well.
Yeah.
So it's not always IRS. It could be some other debt that it's, oh man, well, I don't want to reach out to a coach because I got this debt that I need to handle. That's the best time to reach out to us is, or one of the best times is to make sure that gets handled.
About the only thing we haven't heard is someone has killed their partner. We don't want to hear that,
We
okay?
haven't heard that, but we did have somebody whose spouse was killed. It was crazy, crazy thing. But anyway, so it could also be maybe you're out of integrity with your spouse having an affair. We've helped people through that kind of things. We are not marriage counselors.
We don't play one on TV.
We have an amazing relationship. In
You
fact,
do?
almost all of the people that we coach ask us, "Hey, can you coach my spouse too?" Boy, my wife or my husband really needs to hear this. So we actually do some couples counseling, but not we're not counselors, but we just help them because as a business owner, you think differently than an employee. And
Every
sometimes the
time.
spouse doesn't get that. They don't know the air that you breathe. They don't know the thoughts that you have to think. And so we help a lot in that category.
Just this week, one of our clients we were on a Zoom call, and I believe he got all tearied up because he said, after
Mm.
all the years, all the seminars, all the webinars, all the learning that he's done, this is the first time that his wife is able to sit down next to him and hear everything that he's hearing so that they're both on the same page. And it felt so wonderful. So
And
that's
they,
part of part
yeah,
of what we do at Business Builder.
they hired us to do help with their wealth management. So that's not a whole lot regarding business, but wealth management. Another thing that a lot of business owners run into is a thought that happens to almost every single business owner. And it's, should I shut this down? Should I sell it? Should I just get a job? I'm sick of this business. It's not doing what I want it to do. It's not necessarily a dirty secret, but it's not one that you can share easily with someone else, especially your employees. That's the worst. Those are the worst people to tell that to because then they want to jump ship. So it's not necessarily a dirty secret, but it's a thought that you can't share with someone else very easily.
It's hard to tell your spouse that too.
Oh, yeah, it
After
is.
all the blood, sweat, and tears that you've sacrificed, all the baseball games and recitals, et cetera, that you've missed because of the business, to come home and say, you know, honey, I'm thinking about shutting it down. Boy, that would go over
That causes a
really
lot
bad.
of insecurity and a lot of stress that sometimes if you just reach out to a coach like us, somebody who has service businesses, somebody who's been there, done that, and is still in the trenches. I'm not talking about a coach who bought a franchise, a coaching franchise, who's never actually owned a business, somebody who has walked in your shoes, who can look at it now from a much higher level, like the 30th floor instead of ground level. That's what I'm talking about. So this is really
Excellent.
about including all of the things that might hold you back from getting a coach, but also hold you back from having the biggest breakthrough that you could possibly have in your business. And so we're going to leave you with the question because we always ask a question at the end of each episode. And the question is, what is your dirty secret? The one you don't want anyone to know about your business. Yet you know that you need to shed it. You need to handle whatever that is in order for you to have the breakthrough in your business that you are looking for, to have your business be the business that you envisioned when you started it. So you can either write that in the comments, in the chat box, or in the comment section, or reach out to us directly at bbmmusa.com. Thanks for listening. See you next time.
Bye, everybody.
Grow and get answers to your business and investment questions that provide clarity, move you forward, and inspire you to reach your goals. Share the show and connect with us at bbmmusa.com to submit questions and learn more. That's bbmmusa.com.